As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, hello, my beautiful people out there in YouTube. It's nice to see you coming from the studio. Hey. We've got some updates to go over. Well, not really updates. We're going through the whole realm of interviews and stuff like that. We've done 3 interviews so far. We've done the Duchess 3-3 interview. We've done the WSMV interview of 3-4. And we've done the Fox 17 interview of 3-6. So 3, 4, and 6. Those were the March dates that these interviews were going on. And there were some things that were missing. Let me write these down because I haven't been writing them down. We have no trash, no garbage. No garbage has been referenced. In these 3 interviews, no garbage has been referenced. No leaving of the house has been referenced. No thud has been referenced. What else has not been so far, has not been stated or referenced so far? Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. The real Me Too up in the house. It's nice to see you, my love. Jacqueline, it's nice to see you. Misty Moonlight, hey. Amanda, it's lovely to see you, my love. We got James in the house. It's nice to see you. Lori, Miss Holly, it's nice to see you. Dee's Mystery Obsessed, it's nice to see you guys here already. Della, it's nice to see you as well. We've been going through this list. Nothing has been referenced so far. We did get some clarifications that it appears that at least we know these and would you leave my papers alone, little miss thing? They're down there for a reason. It doesn't mean that you can get a hold of them just because they're your height. She got a hold of one of my letters. I don't know how she got a hold of this. And this was from you, Unicorn, Indiana. Dog ate through it. This was the one you sent me. Dog ate through your letter. Dog ate my letter. I don't know where she got it, but she did. Anyways, it's nice to see you all here. We're going over some more information. What we are trying to do is break down everything we've heard so far. We took this case all the way back to February 26th, reviewing all of the news articles because we weren't involved in the case. We wanted to make sure that we had all of the updated information as it was progressing. Hey, Pebbles, it's nice to see you, my love. And we learned very early on that there was no sighting of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers and no scent of any kind. As a matter of fact, Sumner County emergency guy, I can't remember, he says that in his 20/30 years, they have never not hit on anything. So this is a much different circumstances than his 20 or 30 years of experience tracking and all of this. So that's a little problematic. Then we start moving along, there's no interviews from mom or stepdad. There's no interviews. And then boom, all of a sudden we have the Dutch's interview, and we were not yet aware why. Well, the very next day, they publicly state that they are scaling back efforts, and this is now moving into an investigation. And then boom, that night, 4/4, they have the interview with WSMV. Then they get backlash from that, and so they decide to go with Fox 17, and they will not let them put their faces on camera. That's where we kind of left off. And in the same sense, we saw a interview with Seth. And Seth is basically saying, I just want my son home. I just want my son home. I just want my son home. Well, now we're still back in the arena. We're right about March 11th. And, a lot has gone on. Once they scaled back the search, they didn't really give us any more information about the case. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up Nick Barris. This is not an interview, a segment that he did related to Seth. I think it's just as important for us to watch Seth's behaviors as it is focusing on, oh, good gracious, I didn't know what I did. Focusing on just the mom and the stepdad. So without further ado, we're going to get right into this. And don't worry, for all the Justice for All fans out there, we're going to be ending right about the time that he begins, give or take just a few minutes. So bear with me, and I'll get you on your way to our beautiful Justice for All.
About the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers from Sumner County. Today, the search continues. The case, though, we know is now a criminal investigation. Thanks for being with us at 6, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Kelly.
Oh my gosh, what did we just hear? Holy smokies. Holy smokies. Okay, so now that we know why we hear what we hear, let's just go back and listen to that again, because I don't think the people in the back of the room heard loud enough. Let's see if we can get them to hear a little better. Guys, get the Q-tips for all the haters out there. Because we got the misinformation and disinformation campaigns out there. Let's listen to what the news said. Now, not the backpedaling of law enforcement now. Not the backpedaling of law enforcement. Let's just listen.
Exactly 2 weeks ago, we were just learning about the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers from Sumner County. Today, the search continues. The case, though, we know is now a criminal investigation. Thanks for being with us at 6, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Kelsey Gibson for Carrie tonight. For the first time, we are getting a look at family video of the missing 15-year-old. Sebastian's biological father gave it to Nick Barris during an exclusive on camera.
Did you guys hear that? Should we go back to 14? Let's see. Hold on, let's listen to it.
Investigation. Thanks for being with us at 6, everyone. We know is now a criminal investigation. Thanks for.
Oh, let's listen to that again, just for the people in the back.
Which continues. The case, though, we know is now a criminal investigation.
Okay.
Thanks for being with us at 6, everyone. I'm Rory Johnston.
And I'm Kelsey Gibson for Carrie tonight. For the first time, we are getting a look at family video of the missing 15-year-old. Sebastian's biological father gave it to Nick Barris during an exclusive on-camera interview.
Seth Rogers shares custody of his son, and the deputy with the Davidson County Sheriff's Department spent the past 2 weeks looking for Sebastian.
I'm hoping he's still alive. You know, that's my main hope right now, is that he's not deceased. I mean, I keep praying that he's alive. I keep praying that somebody's going to see him, because somebody's going to call 911.
Seth's 15-year-old son disappeared barefoot and with a flashlight from his mother and stepfather's home in Hendersonville either late on Sunday, March 3rd or early that Monday. Seth knows the key to finding his son may come from a tip. Several photographs have already been made public, and now he's released 2 video clips of Sebastian. In this first one, you see Sebastian up front on the left in yellow shorts, participating in a tug-of-war with fellow students.
And if you watch, he got swung around at the end like a little rag doll, and it's like, well, he gave it his best.
This second video shows Sebastian walking at his middle school graduation.
I was very proud of him. I mean, he successfully completed something.
Seth says his son, who is autistic, is not a wanderer. He finds it highly unlikely Sebastian would leave in the middle of the night barefoot, based on an experience his son had as a child.
He decided that he wanted to step into a mound of what he thought was dirt, and it was fire ants. And since then, it's always been, he doesn't like to get his feet in the dirt. He likes to have his socks and shoes on.
Seth won't.
I think that statement right there was very important for him to say, because at this point, there's a mom and stepdad that's trying to convince the world that this child walked out without his shoes on. And the father's like, wait a minute. I don't know my son of leaving the house without shoes ever since this incident. What do you mean he left the house without shoes? I think that's why, just my opinion, but I think that's why it was so important and why he made this statement, is because in his mind, it didn't make sense to him. It doesn't make sense to anybody that has autistic children. It now doesn't make sense to me. Remember when we started this out, I had no clue. I had no clue one way or another whether or not, all autistic children wear shoes, if this was just something specific for Sebastian. Is this, something common, and then that's when I started realizing, all these children have their own tics, have their own, likes and dislikes. They're not, there's no one specific item or behavior that they all exhibit other than the video games that I've seen so far, except they do have their overstimulation, like general things, overstimulation, meltdowns, some type of other stuff, just, those types of things. But even those behaviors and stuff differ from child to child. They're not the same. So that's pretty interesting. So I just want you guys to hear this again.
It's his son had as a child.
He decided that he wanted to step into a mound of what he thought was dirt, and it was fire ants. And since then, it's always been, he doesn't like to get his feet in the dirt. He likes to have his socks and shoes on.
Seth won't rule out the possibility of foul play, that someone is involved in his son's disappearance.
He said that on day 11, or excuse me, March 11, not day 11, March 11th. He believed there was already foul play, and of course, this is something that law enforcement most likely does not want, out there in the public eye. But at the end of the day, the father felt some kind of way, and law enforcement was shutting down on him when he needed them the most. That's not a way you treat one of your own.
And if Sebastian is able, he says he needs to call for help.
He needs to call 911. And if somebody has him, you need to give him back. He's my son, and he doesn't belong to nobody, but damn it, he's mine. And he's mine.
Nick Barris.
I'm sorry. You feel that emotion when he says he's mine. He's mine. Give him back. He's mine. This is a father that's searching for his child. This is a father that's been searching for his child. Let's see how the second interview on Duchess went. Let's see if we can get that kind of emotion from the mom and stepdad. I don't really remember how this whole thing went, but we're going to be talking about it and discussing it. But I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to hear. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what we got going on here.
And I appreciate you taking the time to just come over here and do that.
You're welcome.
Just trying.
And notice that Seth always makes sure everybody sees his face. Hey, Cheeky Chops, it's nice to see you. I hope you're preparing for the hurricane. Is Helene coming? It's coming. I think you're going to get the better part of it. I think I'm not going to get bad, but I think it'll get pretty It's going to get a little, like we already had a few vans come through here already from Helene. I don't know if you're getting them that far down, but we're definitely getting them here. So be careful out there. But it doesn't look like it's going to be hitting you as hard as it's going to be hitting further north.
Trying to think where I want to start. I know there may be people that are watching or listening to this case. Everyone in the chat, if you would please, if you do have questions, the panel, Crystal, are.
Oh, and that reminds me, guys. So where are we? We didn't finish this. I've only got 3 things, and I know there was 5 things when we left the last time. I've got no garbage, no leaving of the house, no thud. There were a couple of other things. There were a couple other things that I forgot. Is Cathy in here? I didn't see her. Remember when people requested FOIA request, got the email back that they denied, stating, yes, I do. I said, exactly. I absolutely do. But see, even with that, they're like, oh my gosh, it's fake. It's an investigation. They tried to do word salad. I'm not a word salad chick. I cut through the word salad, but you're absolutely right. I remember seeing that. And I think it was on one of Seth's PIs that did a record request that received that. And they decided to release that to the public. So, and then they're like, oh, it's just a typo. I'm like, no, it's not. Your behavior is criminal investigation. What we're seeing, what all this was criminal behavior. So I've got 3. I need help here from the audience. So listen up. So we did, for all the ones that have been here for this chain of events related to the Sebastian Rogers case, the first 3 interviews, there was 3 things that we definitely know didn't happen. And one was the no garbage. 2 was not leaving, the mom not leaving the house. No thud. Oh, that's right. They called within immediately. Called Sumner County Sheriff's Office immediately. And we also knew about the 3-hour call where she was falling asleep. And somebody had brought up a good point. No on any cameras. No on any cameras. But I think they've maintained that throughout, even though we don't believe them in part. No on any cameras. Okay. I got that written down. Did I miss anybody? If we listened to all the interviews and read the post, hey, all may be on Facebook. We need to break this case wide open. Hey, we're trying. We're doing what we can. We're doing what we can. We're praying and hoping something pops out at us. You know what I'm saying? We're praying and hoping that something pops out at us. Okay, so now we're back to judges. They just came on here. Right now, the list is no garbage, no leaving of the house, no thud. Called Sumner County immediately, and no on any cameras in home. So we've got those down. Picking up the niece right now, we don't have that. Oh, I guess we could say that. No picking up of other family. No, I'll just say no other family, because right now we only heard that it's just mom and son. So I'm just going to say no other family referenced. Thank you. Picking up niece. Thank you, Chris. Anything else that we missed so far? Thank you, Pebbles. I think that's it. Okay, so now let's go on ahead and go into this interview. We've got our list. No garbage being taken out. Mom did not leave the house. No thud. Called Sumner County immediately. No on any cameras in the home, and no other family members referenced so far in the 3 interviews we have. The 3 interviews that we have discussed. Oh, hold on. Shirley says KP in one of those said she woke up at 10 p.m. to put the dogs away. I think that's wrong, because she said in the first Dutch's interview, she fell asleep around 10, but didn't wake up until closer to midnight. And that's when Chris was telling her to go to bed and put the dogs away. But let's listen to how this one goes. Let's see what is added. I'm getting a new sticky note. Actually, where's my long form ones? Give me just a sec. No, I got a pad of paper right here. So I'll write on that if it starts getting lengthy. All right, let's go. Let's do this thing. Let's see what's missing.
Arctic and I have some questions and things that we are going to, we're just going to ask Chris. We've seen some people asking questions, we want to ask our own questions. We want to just make sure that things that were asked from the very beginning, to make sure that we've covered all of those things. And this may be answering the question that you have. And once we have went through some of those questions, we will take some questions from the chat. And I just ask that if your question has already been answered by Chris in the live stream, that we may skip over your question, because I don't want to have to make him continue to re-answer the same question, over and over. So we're going to start out with some questions from the panel, and then we will hop over to the chat, and we'll have Chris to see if he'll answer some questions from you guys. So we appreciate everyone for your patience, and we just ask that you show respect, and just kindness goes a long way, and we appreciate that. Let me get over here. I'd made myself a couple of notes. So
Hey V Oakley. Hey Rod. Hey Betty, it's nice to see you, my love.
I hope Sebastian's mom is okay. I know this has been very difficult for her.
Well, she's right here beside me, so she can hear every single thing.
Hey, Katie. I appreciate you being here and listening. You are in our thoughts and prayers, and I know this must be so very difficult for you. And I'm just praying for your strength. We had a lot of amazing people. Still got
and been a part of this from the start to current.
Y'all are very much appreciated in the chat. You have to know that it means so much. Sometimes, and we'll
kid crafts from Lowe's and Home.
He likes to fish.
Let's go back. Okay, sorry.
Besides gaming, what are other things that Sebastian likes to do?
Here's some likes.
He likes to fish. He loves to play on playgrounds.
We get the little kid crafts from Lowe's and Home Depot, so he likes to build little things with me.
That's really cool. And you said that Sebastian didn't really have a lot of friends. He didn't really have any friends. He has a couple of friends at school.
Hey, Dee Dee.
Do you think it's possible that, and which you told me before you didn't think so, but do you think there's any way possible that he could have met a friend online, either at school or at his father's or at your house? Do you think that's possible in any way?
There's always a possibility. That is a question that I cannot.
Katie was just about to answer, and he just overrides everything that she says. Listen to that. Hold on. He wasn't there, right? His story has been maintained. He wasn't there, allegedly, right? The only thing we hear is that he won't answer. He's been told this. He's been told that. Everybody else can talk, but for some reason, his whereabouts 3.5 hours away are so detrimental to this case. I bet they are. I bet they are. Just saying. But listen to this.
In any way.
There's always a possibility. That is a question that I cannot. There's always a possibility that a child can do something. Now, from my best recollection, mom's best recollection, and the father's best recollection, not that we know of. Our house, as we've stated, it is strict. It stays locked down with that kind of situation.
internet time and gaming as like a positive reinforcement rather than a free access.
So they're saying no gaming at their house, no gaming except for positive reinforcement. But we've heard, let's just say from Seth, that it appeared that every time Sebastian, or a lot of the times Sebastian went to his house, he seemed to be in trouble or grounded by the stepfather. 15 years old.
Okay.
TBI is, well, excuse me, not just TBI, but all law enforcement agencies involved are actually anything and everything which way they can. They are doing their best to investigate, look, search, any little thing. And right now we got no luck.
Got no luck.
Okay. Katie, can you walk us through, for anyone that's new to this case, that
Okay, now it appears we're going to go right in. Hey, Gigi for life. It's nice to see you, Carla, Diamond, Kim. It's nice to see you, Terry. It's nice to see you up in the house as well. Let's see what we hear.
maybe just finding out about Sebastian being missing? Can you walk us through what happened on Sunday, like before Sebastian?
All right, so this is what we're going to do, guys. For everybody that's in the chat, you guys know where your emojis are. If you hear something that's critical, that's changing, we right now, what we have so far in all 3 interviews up to this point, we've had no reference of garbage, no reference of mom leaving the house to search for him. We have no thud introduced yet. Called Sumner County Sheriff's Office immediately. No on any cameras, no mention of any cameras in the house, and no other family members being around them the day before, that Sunday, has been brought up in any of the interviews so far. Oh, River, don't cry. Don't cry. We love you. It's a hard one. I know it's a hard one for everyone. This has been hard putting together. So what I want you to do is use the stop signs, okay? Use the stop signs when you hear something important, and we'll go back through and look at all the stop signs. I'll try to pause it if I see stop signs, but I've got the screen over here and the camera and chat over here. So I'm like here and here and here. Okay. So just bear with me. I'm going to try to pay attention to both. I'm going to try to split my eyeballs. Okay. Thank you, J Rod. Hindsight, it's nice to see you. I know. I feel you.
Went missing. Can you walk everybody through that and what led up to you finding out that Sebastian was missing?
Alicia, it's nice to see you.
Yeah. Sunday morning, I'll just start at the morning. Sunday morning, we got up and I made a fun breakfast for us, spaghetti pancakes.
Okay, so this is the first introduction of breakfast. Breakfast is now being introduced in interview number 4. We have a fun breakfast being added. A fun breakfast being added. This is the first time we've heard of this breakfast. More drama. You would think mom would be worried to death over her child. Seems like KP and CP are not missing any meals. Is that because stress is just asking for a friend? Well, they did say repeatedly that he's a bottomless pit, so maybe there's a little more food in the house, possibly, potentially, allegedly. I don't know. HIPAA, no comment. Okay, so we have a fun breakfast being added. Fun breakfast. They're funnel cakes. Yeah, they're funnel type cake pancakes.
Google it, y'all.
Hold on, let's go back.
Spaghetti. Sunday morning we got up and I made a fun breakfast for us. Spaghetti pancakes. Google it, y'all. We FaceTime family while we were eating so he could brag because that's
So now the phone call to family to brag is being added. To brag. Okay, fun breakfast added. Phone call to family to brag has been added. He FaceTimed. Good point. FaceTime. We're going to put internet. FaceTime, i.e., internet access. Okay, let's keep going.
something he likes to do. And we were laughing and joking on FaceTime and having a good time with that.
Laughing and joking on FaceTime. We'll leave it at FaceTime because I don't want this list getting too big with details versus just pointed information. So this whole breakfast time has been introduced. Maybe that's what I should have put. Breakfast time introduced.
After breakfast, we got a call to go pick up our niece.
The niece has now officially been added in interview 4. Niece added.
And go take her to meet up. So we did that. We went and picked her up and we met her mom
Hold on,
at
let's listen to that again. Hold on, let me listen to that again.
Go.
There's something I missed.
Our niece. And go take her to meet up. So we did that. We went and picked her up and we met her mom at BJ's.
So now an aunt's being added at BJ's. Aunt added to BJ's trip. Okay.
And we were there with family members.
We were there with family members. Does that mean more than just the niece and the aunt? Did you guys hear that? Let's listen to that again.
And we met her mom at BJ's. And we were there with family members.
With family members. Was that meaning more than just the two? Melissa says she went shopping with them on Sunday. Okay. I hate that they shut down Sebastian, calling it bragging. He always delayed in his social skills. Why give him a complex over discussing his interests? Interesting point, Karen. I'm not sure. Family members, you mean in-laws, LOL. Girl, your mama wasn't there. Amen. She stumbled over that, practically yelled out BJ's as if to remind her. That's a good point. Sounds like it was more family members. It does. I didn't pick up on that before. It does sound like this. So maybe that's a portion of their alibi. I don't know. CP was in that house. That's what people believe. Diabetes. More drama. I love it. Diabetes. Yeah, they have a bad case of it. Let's keep going.
We come home and put our groceries away. And then a little bit later, we went to the bowling alley, a local bowling alley here, and we played games.
So we know that they went to the bowling alley. That has been established, but at least now we have the finer details that a lot of people believe they bowled. And according to this, they did not bowl. Yeah, it does. It does sound like more than just two. That's the way it did sound. What family members? How many more were with them? It's very interesting. Very interesting. But aunts added to the BJ trip, niece added to the BJ trip, fun breakfast, phone call with family to brag on FaceTime, i.e. the internet.
And then and this is just Bubba and I, and we went to dinner.
So now she's explaining. So where, you notice how she just went from BJ's with family members, plural, to now them coming home and going to this bowling alley and then to dinner, just them by themselves. So she's clarifying a bunch of stuff in here. So let's just keep going. I'm not going to put that on the list, but let's just keep going.
Just the two of us, and then come home.
I don't know. Bitch, please.
He
I don't
took the
know.
trash out because that's his chore. And he come in and he was playing in his room
Good
until
question.
bedtime.
All right, let's go back and listen
at
to that.
bedtime, I told him, I said, "Hey, Bubba, it's time to go to bed. The trash out because that's
Now
his
she's
chore."
calling him Bubba. Let's add
And
Bubba.
he come in and he was playing in his room until bedtime.
So he was playing in his room till bedtime. That's what we heard in one of the other interviews as well, which is still gives us a lot of questions as to what his nightly routines are. Did he take a shower when he got back? 'Cause it sounds like he immediately went to his room to play. How often does he take a shower? How often does he brush his teeth? Did he get his medication that night? These were the same questions we had in the other interview. So, lots of questions surrounding these statements.
And at bedtime, I told him, I said, "Hey, Bubba, it's time to go to bed." And he goes, "Okay, good night, Mama, I love you." And then he said good night to his puppies. And he went to bed.
So he went to bed. So what is removed from this one? The one that she injected in interview number 3, where she stated that he was able to stay up later than normal. And now in this interview, she's back to 9 p.m. He went to bed when she told him to go to bed. So we have some kind of confliction on when he actually went to bed. We're back to unclear. 2 of them said he went to bed at 9. Then the third one with Fox 17, she said she allowed him to stay up later than normal. And now we're back to interview number 4, where he went to bed on time at 9 o'clock. I don't believe her. His glasses were still on his face. That's a good point. That's a good point. I was like, let me go rewatch BHB and Seen Alive. Well, thank you. She also said that he came out and said goodnight, puppies, goodnight, mama. So came out of the room. I think she did say he came out in a prior interview, but we'll keep an eye on that. So I think that's okay. Let's keep moving.
Okay. And walk me through what happened. You said that you were on a phone call, you were on the couch, and then you went to bed at midnight. Walk me through exactly what transpired during that time before you went to bed at midnight for you.
So, well, my husband, he works out of town a lot. So we normally sit and talk every evening, and I normally fall asleep on him.
She normally falls asleep on him. This is the first time that we heard multiple calls at night with husband. And accustomed to falling asleep. Okay. We're racking them up.
And he'll tell me, "Wake up, you got to go to bed." And so
what you're hearing here is what's called and what is referred to as convincing language. Convincing language.
And that was right around midnight. So I got up and I put the puppies up and I went to bed myself at midnight. And
she put the puppies up. She put the puppies up at midnight. She put the puppies up. Puppies up at midnight. Okay.
I went to sleep, obviously. And then at 6 a.m., I went to wake him up for school, and that's when I couldn't find him. And sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. Tell me, did Sebastian take any type of medication before he went to bed, or that would make him sleepy, or if he did take medication, it was just in the morning, or did he take medication at night before he went to bed?
He did take medication nightly and daily.
Okay.
Just for HIPAA reasons,
She didn't even ask all that. She said okay when he answered, but he just needs to put in here why he's not being more, it's just convincing language as to why he won't say what he was on.
we will not disclose
I understand.
what the medication is.
I was just trying to think, if there was something that might have made him sleepy, like if he would have woken up, all these different questions that people have asked. So,
right.
But you don't have to disclose any particular.
Exactly.
Nobody needs to know that, specifically.
So the Real Me Too just said it's funny because Seth doesn't mind answering these questions, and he's the bio father.
I just wanted to ask. Do you feel any particular way? Do you have any thoughts about Sebastian's disappearance? Do you feel that he may have walked off? I've seen a lot of people in chat saying that he went out the window versus he went out the door. How did the door get locked? That you found the door locked? Can you walk me through exactly what that looks like and what you found? Was the door locked? What do you think may have occurred for him walking off versus?
Well, I'll tell you this.
With someone? Okay.
We didn't find any signs of the windows, but and without disclosing the details of my door locks, I will say that Sebastian regularly and consistently went out and locked the door behind himself.
Okay.
I don't believe that, because the only time he truly leaves the house, occasionally he'll go out and get the mail, but even when he went and got the mail, what door did he use that the neighbor said he used? The garage door. Why? Because he went to the front door and the door was locked. Now, a kid that has the combination to the front door that they regularly go in and out of, you would have thought that he would just punch the code in and go into the home. Instead, he skipped back down the the porch and went in through the garage, according to an eyewitness.
Okay. All right, let me get over here because I have some other questions that are coming in.
Now, I will say this much. Let them ask questions. We're not hiding anything. I've heard so much negativity that I refuse to answer questions. Let them fly. I'll be respectful on my responses. I would hope they would be respectful in their questions, but please let them fly. We're good with it.
Okay. I'm just going to, Crystal, Arctic, do you have a question that you want to ask before I take a few questions from the chat?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
We know that Sebastian was high functioning, had high functioning autism. What would you say was strengths and weaknesses that he had? Because no two kids are the same, is why I'm asking.
That is, you are nowhere far from the truth on that, because that is so correct.
That drives me crazy how he laughs. Like, this is no laughing matter. I don't see comedy in the question. I don't see comedy in the reason for this man to have to be on this panel. I see nothing that is worth a laughing matter at this juncture in the case.
Sebastian is extremely high functioning. His weakness
And why is mom not answering this question? This man has only been in this child's life for the last 8 years. When somebody's asking about a kid, they want the family answering, not non-family. Not non-family. Why is he answering a question that this boy's mother should be answering? She is asking about this woman's son, not the stepfather's son, because that's not his son. It's his stepchild. It's very frustrating. Why is he taking over every conversation? Why is he overbearing?
That is you are nowhere far from the truth on that, because that is so correct. Sebastian is extremely high functioning. His weakness, he does not have a
Go straight for the weakness. Go straight for the weakness. Could not say one nice thing about Sebastian before he goes straight to the weakness. Their question was strengths and weaknesses, not weaknesses and strengths. Strengths and weaknesses. Let's listen to what he says his weaknesses are.
sense of personal space. They've
Personal
always
space.
been working with him about like a 3-foot rule, because he likes to be right up in your face. Hey, whoa.
He deals with some social and emotional dysregulation issues.
Mhm.
Simply put, his emotions or responses don't always appropriately match the situation. And socially he can be somewhat awkward interacting with others because he doesn't always match, like, I don't know how to say it right. Like, someone will want to talk about one conversation, but if that's not the subject he's fixated on, he will just railroad over that and go right back to what he's thinking.
And how is that important? They're asking what is he like? Just like when you go to an interview, right? You go to an interview and your potential future boss is going to ask you, tell me about yourself. They don't want to know what your hobbies are. They don't want to know that you like going and hanging out and tipping back the beer on the weekend. No, they're asking you to tell them about yourself related to that job position.
But at the same time, he's also, for the most part, a pretty happy kid, and he loves being a helper, and he likes animals, and he's really smart.
He can play in a game of chess, and he's beat grown men in chess.
He actually likes reading occasionally, but only if it's what he wants to read. So like Minecraft books, he loves to read those.
I want you guys to hear something about the Minecraft books. This is going to blow your mind. This is going to blow your mind. This is the Minecraft book called The Voyage. And somewhere along the line, I believe that it was stated that this was the book or a favorite book, or a book that Sebastian was reading. We need to verify and validate. But if so, this Minecraft, The Voyage book, I want you guys to listen to this because it's going to kind of blow your mind a little bit. Stack Stonecutter has lived peacefully, if unremarkable life in his small town in the overworld. The son of a great adventurers and wise builder, Stack preferred an easier life. He loved to tend to his garden and play with his cats all day. Rather than venturing out to explore the surrounding land, it's quiet on his estate, even lonely sometimes, but it suits Stax well enough. His solitude is shattered when a mysterious stranger arrives with a band of merciless raiders. In one terrible night, Stack's old life is taken from him, and he's left stranded in the middle of nowhere, angry and alone. He never left home, and now he knows why. Everything beyond the boundaries of his little town is scary and dangerous. But as he begins his long journey back, Stax encounters fascinating travelers who show him that there's more to the overworld than marauding pirates and frightening mobs. There are beautiful lands to explore, fantastical contraptions to build, and new friends to meet. It may have taken losing everything he once knew, but on his adventures, Stack finds something more valuable than all the diamonds in the overworld, a whole wonderful world that's just waiting to be explored. Just quite interesting. Thought I'd share that with everybody.
Albeit his humor is a little different. He's funny. I prefer he's silly more than anything.
How was he with strangers?
Depends on the day, to be honest with you. He goes either he's never met a stranger all the way to, depending on his mood, he don't want nothing to do with anybody. So it's kind of difficult to answer that question because it varies depending on where he is in the moment.
Okay.
Normally, he's. There's times he's not afraid to talk to people. There's times he is afraid to talk to people.
Apparently, he didn't like the way
Adults,
she
maybe
answered
not
it.
so much, but children, he has no problem approaching children and talking.
For the most part.
For the most part, like I said, it just depends on what mood and what day of the week you catch him.
Okay. Artie, do you have a question
Karen? I
you'd
don't
like
know.
to ask?
I just wanted to know if maybe thinking back on it, is there anything you can think of that seemed off or out of the ordinary prior to him going missing that during the night before you noticed he was missing?
I honestly didn't notice anything that was like, oh my God, that's weird, you know? I mean, we had a really good day.
She talks about how weird her son is all the time. He's odd. He doesn't like this. He doesn't like that. You know, all he can do is just play chess. That's the only thing he's good at, is basically all I hear. It's not exactly what they say verbatim, but it's what I hear in my ears.
You know, he wasn't in trouble at all.
Here's the trouble again. This is several times they keep saying he wasn't in trouble, and it just rings so true to hear Seth's statement to me on my interview, where he keeps kind of saying, you know, that he had to argue with the stepfather about whether his son should be on punishment or not. Yeah. In my opinion, Sling bait. Yes, that was highly disturbing.
We went to bed on a good note. And I don't know if maybe he just wasn't saying something. But nothing. And I've gone over this so many times. I'm ill, but I didn't see or notice anything that was like red flag, you know?
Well, it's kind of funny you say that word, because my whole entire chat is filled with a bunch of red flags. We didn't see any red flags in Sebastian either, but we definitely see a lot of red flags in the statements made by the mom and stepfather.
Okay.
He didn't have any meltdowns or anything like that seemed off.
No, he was actually really well behaved that day. He was even keel for the most part all day.
That's not what Seth said from what he saw in that video with them exiting the Texas Roadhouse, just FYI.
Can I ask the question?
Sure.
Was that unusual for him to be well behaved all day?
Not necessarily. And
Sebastian goes through phases.
he's got streaks where he's great, and then it's like he
Goes through remission.
like he'll screw up and he'll get in trouble, and then he'll be good again, and he'll screw up. I mean, he's like a typical kid, in a sense, but he just has autism, and I mean it's hit or miss.
But like he'll be doing really, really great for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden it's like he'll flip a switch. Sorry. And and then we're working on going to the bathroom, and we're working on manners, and we're working on attitude, and
Going to the bathroom. Going to the bathroom. So now his incontinence is front page news, and there wasn't any better way to handle that statement.
then and then we'll go through that phase, and then we'll go through and he'll flip the switch again, and he's doing really great. He just goes through.
I understand that
it's like
completely. Trust me.
progress, backpedal, but it.
Progress, backpedal. Do you guys remember the statistics we went over yesterday? The stresses of caregivers with autistic children?
Now, when I saw on social media, some people were talking about Seth had spoken on, I guess it was, maybe it was the Pascal show that he recently spoke on, and he was talking about how at the end of the school year, Sebastian was supposed to come and live with him. And can you tell us anything about that? Is there anything specific to know about that? I think a lot of people have been saying some very interesting things. According to some posts that I saw, apparently it's because Chris, you are that he's scared of you. That he's scared of you, and that you're bullying him at home. And
he laughs. He laughs. We're almost done, guys. I know that Justin is going to be starting if he hasn't already started soon.
I don't like to ask these questions, but I feel like this needs to be addressed because
So Chris is interrupting, saying, I prefer you to ask me the questions.
Just want you to talk to us about why people are saying this, and why people are also putting online that you have domestic violence charges. And I just wanted you to talk to us about that. Whatever you feel like you can tell us, so we can try to reel that in.
No, I'm okay to address every bit of this.
Okay.
So you mentioned Sebastian's afraid of me. Well, that is a loaded question, because somebody who has released some information.
Loaded question. No, that's not true. That's unequivocally denied. He says it's a loaded question.
Out there from another show, who I won't put his name out there, allowed somebody to say something. Now, mind you, when you have a teenage child or teenage children, all parents know this, your children are not going to like you, because...
Yes, that is true, but it's a very low percentage that actually has CPS knocking at their door multiple times.
You're not there to be their best friend. You're there to be a parent. And as parents, you have rules they have to follow. If they don't, there's consequences. Sebastian will say one day he's upset and mad at me for something, and 20 minutes later will run up to me, throw his arms around me, cry, and say, I'm sorry and I love you.
Thank you, Trishy.
So,
I beg to put a bet on that statement right there. How long has it been? A year? 2 years? Let's see.
It will run up to me, throw his arms around me, cry, and say, I'm sorry and I love you. So, when you get in trouble, of course you don't like your parents. He said the exact same things about his father, but that's what...
We don't have a CPS report for his father.
when you set them down and say, look, bud, parents are parents, and we're going to have to do what we have to do. And unfortunately, you're not going to like it, but down the road, when you get older and if you decide to have children, someday you're going to look back and say, man, they were right. So, I mean, people have their opinions, they have their thoughts and their assumptions, and that's fine. I have never once stopped a person from having them. That's why we are people. That's how we are. But knowing the facts.
That's how we are. People just pull in their butts and pull out answers. Okay. That sounds like we'll leave that for the mom and the stepfather.
Are one thing. And then assumptions behind what you want to put out there is something totally different.
But aren't they assuming that he walked out of the house since there's no evidence that he walked out of the house? There was no visual confirmation that he walked out of the house? That isn't this assumption that he hates people doing? Isn't that what they're doing to state that this boy left the home? I'm asking. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. They don't like assuming unless it benefits them or their narrative.
Right.
You know, you addressed domestic violence. Okay. There are some folks out there who've decided to go online and go pull some public records, which
the public record that's pulled, her name is Rachel. This is one of the stepfather's ex-wives. It was stated that she was injured domestically by this man so bad that she had to go to a VA hospital, and he dropped her off at the VA hospital and took off. That's what is alleged. And this is before Nina.
Perfectly okay with. Domestic violence. If I had domestic violence in my background, I wouldn't have certain credentials that I have.
Yeah, fear does a lot to women, let me tell you that.
Because you're not legally allowed to. Domestic violence, no. I've had a temporary protective order, and I had a no contact order placed against me in New Mexico with my ex-wife. Now, mind you, let me back up and I'll play the whole story for you. Me and my ex-wife, we actually lived here in Tennessee for a little bit. We had a daughter, and at the
He's referring to only Nina, not any of his other 4 wives.
time, my daughter was only maybe 6 weeks old. An event took place while I was holding my daughter. And when that took place, I filed for an immediate protection order against her.
Yeah, I bet you did.
We went to court.
An immediate protection order. Isn't that what I have on me right now? That's littered with lies, bold face, provable lies. So you've already had one round about this. Huh, interesting.
Their decisions. I gave my daughter back to her mother. And when she received her, she jumped in a truck and flew right back to New Mexico. Got to New Mexico within 2 days of being there. She turned around and filed the exact same thing against me in New Mexico.
Funny how that happens.
So everything that people are reading, it's on a court document. But what you don't read is the all the things that are happening in the court. You're not reading the transcript, so
it's a docket, and pretty much people can make heads or tails of docket entries. Just saying.
Unfortunately, you don't know the full story.
Well, he has an opportunity to give the full story, and he just keeps going around and around about how nobody has the full story.
But if people want to ask, I'm okay to tell you. You know, yes, I still have a current custody case going on in New Mexico that actually has absolutely zero bearing on this case with Sebastian.
Who believes this has zero bearings on the case with Sebastian? One, that you believe this has nothing to do with Sebastian. 2, you think it has everything to do with Sebastian. Yep. Okay, well, I appreciate the honesty. I believe it has everything to do with why he's missing, to be honest with you. Me personally, I think it plays a very big role in the situation we're in currently. That's just my personal opinion. No, Tulips, I said, if you believe that the custody issue with Faith had nothing to do with Sebastian's disappearance, put 1. If you think it has everything to do with Sebastian's disappearance, put 2. I am a 2, just to let you know.
I do ask people to refrain from bringing that up because it has no bearing.
Nobody gives a rat's patootie when there was a pop-up that came on here. Nobody cares about him filing first. Of course they file it first because they're sneaky sons of guns.
And all you're going to do is put assumptions, and you're going to allow people to have their speculations and bring out more false information. And what people don't understand is every time somebody puts something out there, or they call into the law enforcement agency and says, the stepfather did it, you need to check the stepfather. Well, now you've just pulled a body away from the investigation because they are mandated to deal with that.
Good. Maybe they'll be up the craws where they need to be instead of up the craws of innocent people that ever broke a freaking law in their community. We have a 15-year-old child missing from that community, and it seems like the people that were responsible for the care of this child that cannot produce this child are the ones that are getting all the help from law enforcement. And it's a little weird for me because usually law enforcement doesn't work with people that can't produce children, that had children in locked homes and no scent of where they went and no evidence that they left home. Typically, we don't see law enforcement sucking the knob of parents like that. Just saying. Just saying. We're going to let it go to this sentence and then we're going to close out, y'all. It's because we're over an hour and Justin should be live right now.
Right.
And I have told everybody from the very beginning, the TBI put a news link out, and in there it does state that all 3 parents have extremely been cooperative and constant.
What did he just say? Hold on. We just had them put out. So you're telling them what to say? Did I just hear that right?
Right.
And I have told everybody from the very beginning, the TBI put a news link out, and in there it does state that all 3 parents have extremely been cooperative and constantly or continuously working with law enforcement. And there's absolutely nothing to show that we are responsible.
Nothing to show that we are responsible. Good, weird choice of words.
Foul play, any of that nature. People have asked about interrogations and polygraphs. All this stuff has been done.
All this stuff has been done. We know that to be a lie. We will be back at 1:45:49 tomorrow morning, bright and early. We're going to go back over this Dutch's interview, and we'll see how everything plays out tomorrow. And then we'll be following behind with the Chronicles of Olivia interview when things really start heating up and stories really start changing. There's some changes that we've seen, some major changes that we saw in this interview. Let me just go ahead and go over those with you right now. So between the first 3 interviews, we had no garbage, no leaving of the house by the mother, no thud, called Sumner County Sheriff's Office immediately, no on any cameras, and no other family referenced. When we get to the 4th interview, we have a fun breakfast being added. We'll just say a breakfast event being added. where FaceTime was used, i.e. internet access. The niece was added, the aunt was added, and all of a sudden she starts calling Sebastian Rogers Bubba when she's never called him Bubba before. Then she interjects convincing language about the 3-hour phone call very late at night that goes on almost to midnight on their phone call, when both of them have to be up for work in the morning in just a few hours, a few short hours. They're going to have to be up to go to work, yet they're staying up with very little time to sleep for their Monday day to start. And puts the puppies away at midnight and assumes Sebastian walked out the door. And why, the reason why I put assumes is because this is the first time somebody pushes them on why they believe the front door was used. So we are seeing some major differences in their stories by interview 4. Interview 4 was done on March 17th. March 17th was when the story started changing. So how many days is that? And then we'll let you guys go. Let's find out date to date. To date calculator. We're going to put the date of February 26th to March. What did I say that was? 17th? March 17th, 2024. 21 days. 21 days into this case, the story starts changing. 21 days into the case, the story starts changing. Guys, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I'm sorry we couldn't finish this, but I did see that Justin for All had a scheduled live, and I didn't want to intrude on that, but I did want to touch base on a few things. I'll see you guys back in a few hours. It may be until tomorrow. I'm not sure what my schedule is going to be like for the rest of the evening. We will see, but we're starting to get stories changing, significant story changes on interview 4, exactly 21 days after this young boy disappeared. Thank you so much. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, let's be kind to one another. God bless. And thank you to Trishy as well as Serenity. Trishy's question was, Chris and Katie, it's not behavioral inconsistencies. It's called developmental regression, which can be a result of emotional stressors. We heard from Seth Rogers that they stressed him out. So we can probably deduct that a lot of the behavioral and other things going on with Sebastian was a direct result of where he was living. Serenity says, Seth said on the weekend he had Sebastian that Katie would go to Memphis, which seems odd to me. Why did CP not come home? Very interesting. All right, guys, have a great night. I love each and every one of you. God bless. And we'll see you either later tonight or in the morning. See you soon.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases.
We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.